Oh my god, these are so good. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am super excited because today we are making cookies. I just felt like after the video earlier this week, I needed something just really happy. And what is happier than making gluten-free chocolate chip cookies? So I felt like it would be the perfect video for today. And it's kind of like rainy and cold out, and I feel like the scent of warm chocolate chip cookies would just be amazing. So there are a lot of selfish reasons that I'm doing this, but I also think that it's great to show you guys how to make these gluten-free. So what I'm actually doing is just taking a normal recipe for chocolate chip cookies and substituting out the flour. So this is something that you can do with any of your favorite recipes at home. I often do this if I see a recipe that looks really good but isn't gluten-free. I just do like a substitution, and sometimes it turns out great and sometimes it turns out awful. So I would just go into it with that mindset, like you never know. But I think cookies are kind of foolproof, so that's what we're gonna try and do today. I kind of have all my ingredients laid out here in front of me. I'm gonna list them all below with all the measurements, so in case you guys missed it, because it might be going fast, who knows. I'm also kind of a slow cook, so you might be able to catch it, but I might forget to say something, so definitely check out the description box for the recipe, all the measurements, all of that good stuff. And yeah, let's make some cookies. So I already preheated the oven to 325, so that's just working. So if you can hear that in the background, that's what's going on. But I'm gonna start out by combining the dry ingredients. So I'm starting with this Bob's Red Mill gluten-free all-purpose flour, and I'm putting this in a separate bowl from what we're actually gonna like combine everything into. So I'm gonna do 2 cups of this flour. These are like the most adorable measuring cups, but they make no sense because it's impossible to do it in a clean way. I think the thing about gluten-free baking is that sometimes the flour is not enough and doesn't act like true gluten, and then other times they try and make it act like true gluten, but it becomes so, I don't even know what the word is for it, but it just becomes really tough to work with, and everything gets kind of like sticky and dry. So finding a good all-purpose flour is really challenging. And if any of you guys have any good suggestions, definitely let me know. I also realized I wore all black today, and this is definitely going to get so messy, but we're gonna deal with it. I wish I was just like a tiny bit shorter, so then you guys could see kind of what I'm doing on the table, but I'll hold everything up. Okay, so we have 2 cups of flour in here. We're gonna do a ½ tablespoon of baking soda, and oh shoot. Okay, so I lied, it's actually a ½ teaspoon of baking soda. So I just took some out. We're gonna see how this goes. I think it's gonna be great. Don't worry about it. So we're gonna do a ½ teaspoon of salt. I feel like there should be like a different word for it because tablespoon and teaspoon look so similar when you're reading a recipe. This is, yeah, ½ teaspoon of salt. We're putting this all into a bowl. That feels like a lot of salt. All right, we're going for it. This might be a disaster, but what would gluten-free baking be without a disaster? Okay, so now we have the baking soda, salt, and flour all in this little bowl, and we're just going to grab a fork and just kind of like mix it up. That way all the ingredients are combined, and I feel like with a fork you don't get quite as much mess. So I'm just being careful to do this. I don't have like a ton of baking equipment, so we're just using what we got. I'm gonna set this aside for now because we don't need it. We're gonna work on some other ingredients. Okay, grabbing a bigger bowl. Hopefully this will be big enough. So in a larger bowl, we're gonna mix together the butter and the sugar to start. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually cut the butter up into cubes because we're gonna need to melt it. So I'm going to pop it in the microwave, but for cleaning's sake, I'm gonna do it in the bowl that we're mixing it. This is like a microwave safe glass bowl. It needs a stick and a half of butter. I always laugh when people are like, eating gluten-free is so healthy. I'm like, yes, it can be, but I bet I could show you how it could be unhealthy too. And I think this recipe is one very good example of that. So as I am cutting my stick and a half of butter for these cookies, I'm just cutting them into like little cubes. I'm not being super precise, but this just makes the melting process go faster. You don't have to spend as much time in the microwave, which is nice. I used to love to bake, and I still really like to bake, but I don't get to do it as often. So if you guys like these videos, let me know, because I love experimenting with cooking and baking with gluten-free foods. I just think it's really fun, and I think there's always that element of adrenaline because you never know. Is something gonna do what it's supposed to do, or is it just going to be a total flop? Our butter is all cubed in this lovely bowl, and I'm gonna go pop it in the microwave until it's almost melted, and then I'm just gonna use a spoon to kind of stir it until it's completely melted. Okay, so butter is melted completely in the bowl, and we're gonna do a full cup of packed brown sugar, which means exactly what it says, so you want it to be packed in there. Ooh. If you have a glass bowl, if you can melt the butter in there, then you don't lose any, which sometimes you do when you're actually transferring stuff over. Okay, so that was a full cup of packed brown sugar. And then we're gonna do a half a cup of regular sugar. Put that in. Okay, so now I'm just gonna use a hand mixer, and we're gonna mix it until it's all well blended. Next, we're gonna add in the vanilla and the egg. So for the eggs, we're actually gonna do one full egg and one just yolk. So I'm just going to crack them into a separate bowl. So I'm gonna crack the full egg in, one. And then for the second one, I know this seems like a lot of dishes, and I apologize for that, but we're gonna have to separate it. So I'm gonna put the whites in this bowl and the yolk in the other one. So you can actually buy tools to do it, but I don't know why when I was younger I thought I wanted to be a chef with my friend. So we used to have these restaurants that we would do, and one thing we both got really good at was separating eggs. So that is why I know how to do that. I had to double read that. I'm just gonna add a tablespoon of vanilla in. I'm not gonna do the same thing as the baking soda. It says tablespoon. So as I'm mixing the sugar with the vanilla extract, I'm gonna add in the 1.5 sort of egg. So the 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. Then you're just gonna keep mixing this together until it is nice and creamy. Okay, so it is nice and creamy now. You guys can kind of see how the color really changed, and it's very thick. So I'm just gonna set this to the side for a minute, and we're gonna clean up a little bit more because I like to clean up as I go. That was not something I ever used to do, but Jared taught me the benefit of it. Now we're gonna come back to this trusty little bowl that we had worked on earlier, which is the flour and baking soda and salt mix. And I'm just gonna give it another little mix to make sure that everything was nice and blended. As I'm mixing, I'm gonna carefully pour a little bit in at a time. So this recipe says to blend until just blended, so that is kind of what I did. And then I'll probably give it another mix with my hands just because there's some flour on the side. But that will also happen as we mix in the chocolate chips, which is the next step. So this recipe calls for 2 cups chocolate chips. I don't know if I have quite 2 cups, but I'm just gonna mix in a little bit at a time so that they're nice and evenly distributed. Oh my God, this looks so unbelievable. I like a lot of chocolate chips, so we're just gonna keep adding some. I mean, who wants a chocolate chip cookie that doesn't have chocolate chips in it? I've had that experience, and believe me, it is heartbreaking when it's you. Okay, this is sort of what we're looking for. Nice, even distribution chocolate chips. Not that I'm saying it's good to eat raw cookie dough at all, but if you do, it should taste really good, and this one does. It's time to bake them. So I just lined a baking sheet with some parchment paper. I like to use parchment paper because I think it makes the mess a million times less, and it's so much easier to clean. And then I'm just gonna use a spoon, and we're gonna scoop like a tablespoon amount for each cookie. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop these 2 sheets in the oven, which was at 325 for about 15 to 17 minutes. Definitely gonna check them at 15. And I think it should make about 2 dozen. I don't have 2 cookie sheets, so we're being creative. And we're using this one as well. So I'm gonna do another one after these are done. But yeah, I'm just gonna pop these in, and since I made such a mess, I'm gonna start cleaning up while they're cooking. Okay, so the cookies are done. I left them in for about like 17-ish minutes. They definitely needed that. However, I don't want them to cook any more on there because I want them to stay nice and soft and gooey. So I don't have cooling racks. I wish I did, but I'm just gonna move them onto a different surface like a cutting board or a plate so that they won't bake anymore on the bottom. Okay guys, I barely let these cool because they smelled so good and I'm so excited to eat one. I have like a massive tray of cookies right down here that you guys can't see, but this definitely made an even 2 dozen cookies and it was the perfect recipe. They look beautiful. I'm so excited to try them. Now all there is to do is just enjoy them. Oh my god. This is a really good cookie. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Probably have chocolate all over my face. It was really fun to make and fun to be a little bit more casual and just hang out with you guys. So let me know if you try this recipe, what you think. Let me know if there are any other gluten-free recipes you guys want to see. And that is all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I post 2 videos a week, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and I will see you all next Tuesday. All right, bye.